need to remember the names of some persons, some of our colleagues who passed away, like VLNGK Murthy, Jagdish, and PR Prasad, T.S. Anand, S.R. I lost very many friends practicing the we will have only memories so far as they are concerned. As I decided to sit back to saw Vijay Lakshmi Praveen Shetty sort of constitutions and I kept on for a long time. Shobha was there during that meeting. Bhima Dinaki. Shesha Rajam Garu was well known one side. The public was trying for a long time. After Lakshmi the names immediately come to my mind. And the youngsters at that time, Niranjan was junior of K. Pratap Reddy. It's nice to see that he has grown over a period of time, doing well, and new blood has come in. New juniors are coming in. After Lakshmi, we had a small group of friends here. Myself, with G. Mohan Rao, Saty Srinivas, Sanjay, as you call him, Justice Sanjay Kumar, K.S. Murthy, we would go down to that Babji's canteen to have a cup of chai every day. This much of an introduction about my duty to relate and tell you about the persons that I interacted as I entered the bar. This expression, practice, as we keep referring to in this profession, is a good word. So we practice law, so to say, really meaning that we practice, interestingly, as a team, because lawyer is not an individual, he can't work by himself. This practice is as a team, and the best part of this practice is for the purpose of finding out what the truth is. This is the sum and substance of this profession. That is the reason why this is one of the greatest professions. We all practice for the sole purpose of finding out what exactly is the truth, and the necessity comes because truth can't be found except through a process. The only process that known to human beings is the process of adversarial litigation, as we say. My 33 years of practice as a lawyer and 18 months as a judge lets me share with you that in its essentiality, and in its core, there is really speaking no difference between the two. You must recognize that. As a lawyer, I thought I am placing before the judge one perspective of truth or a fact, and it is for him to take. Now as a judge, I take the help of a lawyer to choose between 2 or 3 perspectives of truth and rest my judgment at a place which I think is closest to the truth. I am trying to simplify what we all do as a judge and as a lawyer, and as we look at this process, you would know that there is, really speaking, no difference between the two, because we work as a team. So, profession is the best, practice is the best, purpose is the best, object is the same. Then what next? What needs to be done is the question. How do we better it? What are the actions to be undertaken, and what are the challenges before us, both for the bar and the bench? This is what I wanted to talk to you. As I say, widening horizon. Quotations of Denning and foreign judgments relate to concept, things like that. Because this, I think, is a burning topic. We must take it up. There are challenging issues for the bar and the bench, and we must deal with them urgently, as we are in kind of an emergency situation. I am emphasizing the expression emergency situation because you all know the tendencies before the courts, which has rendered judicial process irrelevant to many people. You come sit for a couple of hours and go away. How much of tendencies are getting cleared? How much of these people are getting? Who are getting? Whether real stakeholders are getting or not. Very, very serious issue that we must ponder about it. I thought I will discuss with you, being trained as a specially petition lawyer, we have the tendency to cut short things, concise, make it point-wise, but jurisdiction shapes you many a times. So the 5 to 6 points I will place before you. First is the disconnect, as I would call, between the bar and the bench. The second relates to the professional independence. The third issue relates to identities that our clients carry and the obligations that we have to ensure those identities are restored, so much so that the dignity is brought back to them. I will explain that in a moment. Then I will also tell you that there is a need to decentralization and there is a need for access to justice and adaptation of alternative remedies to ensure that disposals take place as fast as possible. And then we will look at the concept of a remedy itself. You go from court to court. Civil court says go to tribunal. Tribunal says that why is this petition maintained here? Why did you come here? Go and file a suit. And then a writ court says that go somewhere else. What is this concept of remedies? Are lawyers only pigeonholing remedies? Is there anything that we can look for future to cut this? So much so that the process of litigation comes down, and this is yet another horizon that we must look at. And finally, I'll tell you that all this is possible and easier through adaptation of technology. These 5 or 6 things which I have narrated to you, everything relates to and involves the working of a lawyer, working of a judge. The first one, which I said about the disconnect, the freedom that a lawyer enjoys is that he argues the matter before the court effectively in order to protect his client, and the moment the submission is over, his work is done. And I enjoyed that freedom for 33 years. And that's the best part of it, because the profession expects that. And after I became a judge, because I'm perhaps the best person to tell you, having had the best of the experiences in recent times, that after having become a judge, I realized that there is a disconnect in the approach adopted by a lawyer, that he would make his submission and then leave it that, having no connection to the ultimate product of judicial process. A decision which is good or bad, the lawyer must take half the responsibility. That can clearly indicate that the role adopted by a lawyer in the judicial process, the judgment being a cryptic or a detailed judgment on facts or law, whatever it may be, the decision arrived has a direct bearing on the role that a lawyer undertakes and then performs before the court. So the question therefore is that it is a shift that we need to make from that of a freedom of a profession to that of a duty bearing. If we recognize that the judicial, the process of advocacy has a duty bearing eventually to the product of judicial process where judgment is delivered, then I don't need to tell you, all of you will adopt that kind of an approach which will enable the judge to ensure that the judgment is delivered in a manner which is the best product available through the process of justice. That much you must remember. So therefore the key word I would say, bridge the gap. You must bridge the gap as there seems to be a disconnect. Then how does one do that? This takes me to the second point about professional independence. This is the aspect which has a bearing on the first point that I have made. Professional independence is far more important, let's say equally important to that of judicial independence. We don't talk of professional independence. When I say professional independence, I don't talk about the Bar Council of India being a regulator as against a civil court regulating or a court regulating the conduct of a lawyer. Then where does that regulation or the professional independence comes in? You should all recognize, judges will of course know, because the professional roles, as Adam Smith says, that you do a work so repeatedly that you many a times forget the purpose and object of what you are doing. As a lawyer, the conduct is far more difficult than that of a judge. The reason is this. I have written it down, I'll read it to you. Independence by legal profession is even more difficult, since professional must balance the duty towards his justice administration coupled with his commitment to the client, and at the same time withstand the economic and political pressures. A client with his wealth can tempt you, a wealthy client can tempt you, enable you to make an argument. If you say, you may give me higher fees, but this is not proper for me to say, you have exercised your professional independence. That's the power you have. That's the volition you have. That is where the professional independence comes in. That's the tipping point between doing this great job of advocacy routinely or entertaining this practice or sadhana with the object of professional independence. We have cases, we have lawyers and lawyers who tell us that after a point I said, no, I can't take this that far. That's the example I was telling you about Padmanabh Reddy, who told him that, somebody told him, a briefing counsel, that this is the big case so in which you can charge such and such fees in a bail matter. He said, sorry, my fees in a bail matter is just this much. That's it. That's where you draw a line. And these lines are not drawn by external methodologies. These lines are drawn in the heart, where we must be very clear where the professional aspiration takes you, and at the same time where the professional duty stops you. Drawing the line, that's all. That makes all the difference. Political influence, again, yet another topic. I just spoke to you about the economic influence, because we all deal with clients and clients and clients, rich clients and poor clients too, where in a legal aid matter, how far you go. Many of us, I want to believe that go a little extra mile to do something extra when they are talking about, when they are doing a legal aid matter. All of us do. It is inherent in our heart. I am a die-hard believer that we are one of the best civilization in the world. And I want all of you to continue to believe in that. As human beings, we are told and repeatedly told by a script written by somebody else that our standards are low, or that we are just like that. Past is past. This is what you must think about as times to come, that we are the best people. And this is where I would exercise my volition and then proceed further and be and show and demonstrate the professional independence. Political, I'll just complete that. Political independence comes in when you exercise the power. It's very tempting when somebody offers you standing counselship, government leadership. These are very tempting. It's insidious. It enters the profession. It can have the tendency of dividing the bar too. But this again, your first enrollment is of a lawyer. The second enrollment, if at all, is to your ideology. Further enrollments are towards your political alignments. You will have to balance. You will have to balance. The choice you have made because you have enrolled as a lawyer, that birthmark cannot be erased. That birthmark remains irrespective of whether you have an ideology, you have a political goal. about degree. I think most of us will agree with me. This is what it does. The lawyer's contribution is also there. That kind of an approach is necessary for interpretation of laws, and you are the duty holders so far as that aspect of interpretation of law is concerned. The recent decision of the court on the administrative side to translate judgments into Telugu is definitely a step in that direction. We have to create a necessary vocabulary. We have to introduce Telugu in our district. I was discussing with the Advocate General that identify four of our districts in our state, far and wide, and identify, Vice Chancellor is here. It's my request that introduce Telugu in law teaching. Don't start law colleges, Telugu law colleges. Introduce Telugu in law teaching. Give an option to the students. We might want to be learning law through a teacher who is teaching in English, in Telugu. Then that requires you to create a system of vocabulary. You need to translate judgments. You need to translate texts. This is all a process. We must take step in that. You are all stakeholders in that. All of you must do it. And in one or two identified colleges, let us start. And in a short period of time, we will be able to do this in our district courts. What happens is the client will be able to know what is decided against him. Client is also able to know exactly what is the judicial process leading to a decision about his identity. Be it the freedom that he is asking for, be it the right to equality that he is asking for. Why are we moving him away from what he is? This is a great obligation that we have. That you must bring dignity to people. Then it is more or less in the same line, last 2 points I covered up. Taking it closer to people. This is again a principle of administrative law. Why is it that anybody from somewhere at the top end of our state, in Hyderabad, for a small matter concerning some MRO having done something contrary to the act, run to Hyderabad? Can't there be processes by which the nearest court can review the judicial process, the administrative action? In other words, not everything is confined to the High Court. District courts will be able to give, should be able to give orders to prevent misuse or abuse of the executive power. That needs to be trained, and there is sufficient in the specific relief act, and our processes require interpretation. You will have to innovate for a new horizon that you might see. And there will be a migration of our National Law School youngsters back to the district to have a quality of life there, to be in the district and have a very energetic and very good district courts catering to the needs of the people in different aspects of the matter. That we need to do, because 70 years have passed by. Have we stopped and looked back whether this adversarial system has worked in our favor or not? After I became a judge, some matrimonial matters, 25 years after filing of a divorce petition coming to us for consideration, 5 years trial court, 7 years, and then it was Supreme Court pending. Ask this question, raise questions. Has this system really worked in our favor at all? Have you challenged this question? Have you raised this question? Should two brothers who want to share and divide their property fight for 15-20 years? Next question, is this system not converting husband and wife who would not want to live together become stark enemies the moment they drop a petition in the court by the end of it. There is something fundamentally wrong in the system. And if we don't question it, it will remain. It remained for 70 years. So we must look for alternatives. That's why I'm saying we must look for alternatives. The best alternative perhaps is a mediation process. There are other methods also. We must look at it. We must upgrade ourselves. We must do away with some things which have not worked for us. 70 years is not a small time. We must work towards each of these and proceed further. I'll skip one or two. And I think if we adopt this method and look at things in a different perspective and also involve the usage of technology, I think in a period of about 7 to 8 years, we will be able to turn the tide. And that is the challenge that we have, the obligation that we have, and we must undertake and deal with this. And I commit myself to doing this in the time.
57 years standing. Wonderful. Praveen Kumar is a government leader and also is the president of SC/ST Minority Advocates Association, High Court. I request Praveen Kumar and friends to please join. Million. Cool. Sorry. The Praveen, come on, brave. Nice. Friends, I request all please to join in high tea at back of our Otak times by our Malla Reddy, please.
Sir, good evening.